Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Gaurav and this is Neat Designs. So we are going to build something special today. Today we are going to build these switches which are used in the great iPhone or the great iOS ecosystem. So without any further ado, let's dive into our code editor and let's build them. So let's create our markup first. So to start with, I have created this basic HTML template and I have already linked my CSS file and the jQuery's library and the functions.js file as well. So let's start with creating a container, and so here I have the image of iOS settings menu. So here you can see we have got the icon, the text and these switches. Okay, so we need three sections, one for airplane mode, Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, and in that we need three elements, one for icon, one for this text and one for switch. Okay, so let's create those in our markup. So let's create a div. Let's create a section, okay, with a class of airplane, and inside that let's create three spans. So let's give them their own classes. So the first one will get icon, second one will get text, and third one we are going to call it as switch dash btn. Okay, and let's type that text in it. So the first one have the text of airplane mode. Okay, so now let's copy this whole thing and let's paste it 2 times. So the second one is a Wi-Fi section, so let's give it a class of Wi-Fi, and in text let's replace with the Wi-Fi. Okay, and the third one is Bluetooth, so let's give it a class of Bluetooth, and let's change the text to Bluetooth as well. So now in our browser we have got the text. So as you can see, there is HR, there is a line after these each section. So we need to create HR elements after that switch button. So let's create that. And here as well. Okay, so I think that all we need for the markup right now. So now let's dive into our styles.css file and let's create the styles. So here I have some colors. So the active state is going to have this green color, and the inactive is going to have this light gray color. Okay, and another color we need later is the light blue. So now let's start with resetting the default margin and padding. Okay, and now let's move on to our container. So in container let's first change the font family to Helvetica New, which is a beautiful font, and let's set the sans serif as our fallback font, and let's give it a width of 400 pixels and height of 600 pixels, and let's set the margin of 50 pixel of top and bottom, and auto on each side. So we'll have the container in the middle of the page, and let's add a padding of 30, no, let's add a padding of 0 and 30 pixel on each side, and let's give it a border of 1 pixel solid. Let's use a RGBA color, so 52, 52, 52, 0.2, maybe 0.1. okay, and now let's change the background of the body. So our container will have a different color than the body, and it will look, you know, brighter than the whole area of the body. So let's change the background of the container to DDD, to a gray color, and to our container let's change the background to beautiful white. Okay, looks good. So now let's target our first section, the airplane. Actually, let's target them all. Airplane, I think second one is a Wi-Fi, and the Bluetooth. Okay, and so now let's give it padding of 30 pixel and 0 on each side. Okay, looks good. And let's now style our HR first. So for HR, let's position it absolutely, and on these three things, the airplane, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, let's position it as relatively. So we can absolutely position this HR according to these three sections. So position absolute, we don't want any border, and let's give it a height of 1 pixel, width of 100%, and background of let's say RGBA 525252.0.2, maybe 0.1. okay, that looks good. So we want that HR to spread across these sections, so we need to have the full width of container to these HRs. okay, so we have given a width of 100% on the HRs, and we have additional 60% padding on this container. So let's use a calc function, and let's add that 60 pixel on width. So now that HR is passing the container, that is going outside of the container. So let's set the left property to negative 30 pixel, so it will be perfectly aligned 0 pixel from the container. okay, so now let's take a look at our image. So now let's create those icons. So let's create a comment. Let's type icons in it, and we have given a class of icon. So first of all, let's change the display type of span to inline block because they are currently in inline mode. So I have given the display to inline block. So now let's target them with their class. So for now let's give them a width of 30 pixel, height of 30 pixel and background of black so we can see it. And now let's create those switches. So let's add a comment first, switches, and we have given a class of switch btn. So let's target with that class. So for switch btn we are going to give it a width of 60 pixel, height of 40 pixel and background of that light gray color which we have here. So let's copy that and let's paste it here and let's save it. Okay, and as you have seen in that image, it has also this round circle. So let's create that. So we are going to use a pseudo class element to create that white circle. So let's use before element here. So first let's add a content to it and let's give it a width of 40 pixel, height of 40 pixel, background of white, and let's save that. And now let's target them both. So switch btn comma dot switch dash btn before, and now let's give them a border radius of 20 pixel. Okay, so our before element is not showing, so let's position it absolutely. Okay, and let's change the position of this switch btn to relative and let's give it a left to property of 0, and also let's give it a border of 2 pixel solid, and for color we are again going to use that light gray color. So as you can see, after giving the border of 2 pixel, it is exceeding the height and width. So we have given 2 pixel of border on top and bottom, so that is the total 4 pixel of increase in total height, and also the 4 pixel of increase in the width as well. So let's decrease that with 36 pixel. So now it is perfectly aligned in that switch btn. So now let's display those each section as a flex, so we can align these each icons and switches in the center. So let's change the display to flex. Okay, and let's set the align items property to center, and for HR we have to give 100% from the top. Okay, and let's give a 10 pixel of margin right on these each icons. And for the switch button, so we want that switch button all the way to the right, so let's use a trick here. So let's set the margin left property to auto, so it will align all the way to the right. Okay, and now let's give them their own icons. So let's target that airplane icon, and let's use the background. So let's first remove that black background, and now let's type background image. So we have our images in the image folder, and we have these PNGs. So now let's give them their own path. So image and airplane dot png. Okay, and like that, let's change the background of Wi-Fi as well, and also the Bluetooth. And Bluetooth here as well. So now here in the common class of icon, let's change the background size property to content, so there will be content in that box. Okay, so now if you see in the browser here, let me zoom a bit, we have got this text in one line, so they have perfectly aligned in one line, but these icons are not of same width. Okay, so the Bluetooth icon is not as wide as the airplane and the Wi-Fi icon, and so that's why it's creating this odd and weird spacing, and I don't like that. So let's fix it by giving a background behind those icons. Okay, so in our markup, let's create icon wrapper with a span. So let's give them a class of icon wrapper, and now let's move these icons inside these wrapper. Okay, and in our styles, now let's target that icon wrapper. So now let's move this width and height, and also the margin right property in the icon wrapper, and let's save it. And for background, we are going to use this light blue color. So let's give it the background of that light blue, and we have given a background images, but these icons don't have their width and height, so let's give them a width of 100%, which is 30 pixel, and height is also 100%, and on icon wrapper let's give them a padding of 5 pixel. on each side. So I think the icons are looking little big, so let's change the width of icon wrapper to 25 pixel. Okay, that is looking good for me. And for the text section or the span, let's change the font size to 17 pixels. And what else do we need? So these backgrounds have a little bit of border radius, so let's give a border radius of 5 pixel on this icon wrapper. Okay, so we have built this section with HTML and CSS, but right now it don't have any functionality. So let's change the cursor to pointer. So right now it don't have any functionality, so let's add that functionality. So when someone clicks on this button, it is going to change the color to this green, and also the border of this thing will also change, this circle. So let's add that functionality. So let's create a comment of active state, and let's target that switch dash ptn with a class of active. And when the switch button is active, we are going to change the background of it to this green shade. So background to this color, and also the pseudo class element is going to change some of its properties. So before, and first of all we need to change the border color. So let's give it the same color, and also we are going to change the left position to 100%. So let's save that, and let's open our functions.js file. So in that file I have already set up the document ready function. So now let's create a variable here with switch btn, and let's bind that switch btn class to it. And so when someone clicks on that button, we are going to do this. Okay, so here we are selecting all the switch buttons, but switch button is not a one thing, it's three things. Okay, so it is going to return an array. So when someone clicks on those buttons, one of those buttons, we need to select one at a time. So we are going to say this. So the JavaScript is going to identify on which button the user have clicked, and then we are going to use toggle class function, and we are going to toggle the class active on the click. Okay, so let's now test. So our pseudo class element is not moving to the left. Let's see. So here, oh, I have mistyped here. So switch btn dot active column before. So now we have got a problem here because we have set the left property to 100%. It is, you know, aligning from here. Okay, from here. So we need to remove its width from this left property. Okay, so let's use a calc function and let's reduce the width amount from that 100%, so it will be perfectly aligned to the left. It's looking good. And let's add a transition on both of them. So let's add a transition all 150 milliseconds and linear as a timing function, because we don't want any change in the speed. Okay, we want the transition in the same speed. So now let's test it. So as you can see, they are working perfectly. The main switch btn is changing its background to green, and the pseudo class element is moving to the left. So if you have your iPhone, you can compare with these switches. I'm sure it is going to look very similar. So that is all I have for now, guys. So if you really liked this video, please click that like button. Please share with your friends and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. So that's it, guys. Have a wonderful day. Until then, bye.